neighbors, it's Brad here from eTrailer, and today we're taking a look and installing the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver on a 2018 Mazda CX-9. And adding a trailer hitch to really any vehicle, including your CX-9, is a great option. It's really going to open it up as to what you can do with the car, and really the added real estate from potentially bike racks or cargo carriers sure makes it nice on vacations. So taking a closer look at this one, you'll see right away that really the only thing that's visible once installed is going to be the receiver tube opening and the safety chain loops. The rest of it is going to stay hidden, so you get a nice clean look, but all the usability of your hitch. This hitch is a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, and that's going to be great for a number of different accessories. This is kind of the standard size you'll see on most vehicles, so it really opens up the window as to bike racks, cargo carriers, or ball mounts that you can choose from. Now, all of them are going to stay in place with a 5/8 pin and clip. Now, this is not included with the hitch, but many times your accessories will have them included. And if you plan on leaving your accessories on the back of your vehicle, I would highly suggest getting a locking pin and clip. It becomes a really good deterrent for someone walking by. That way they can't just take your pin and clip and that accessory with them. Now, some accessories like cargo carriers and bike racks can stow in a vertical position, and sometimes with vehicles, the rear fascia can get in the way to where that's not a possibility. So measuring from the center of our hitch pin hole to the furthest point of our fascia, we're looking at 4 inches. And if you want to see how things interact, the best way to do that is put your vehicle in the fit guide and take a look at some accessories. You can see vehicles very similar to your CX-9, maybe a different year, but at least how those are going to interact with your vehicle and what might be your best option. Now, in that vertical position, you are going to want to keep in mind that you're probably not going to be able to open up that hatch without folding it down, and it very well may block your license plate, your backup camera, and potentially even your taillights. So just something to keep in mind when choosing those accessories. Now, ground clearance is going to be important as well. So from the top of the receiver tube opening to the ground, we're coming in at 14 inches. And you're probably thinking ground clearance, this is probably not going to hit the ground, and I don't think it will, but it really comes down to determining the ball mount necessary when towing a trailer. So if you don't have an adjustable ball mount and you want to get everything level to tow, the best way to figure out your rise or drop necessary is to get your trailer level, measure from the ground to the top of the coupler, and then compare that with our 14 inches, do a little bit of math, and that's going to give you your rise or drop necessary. Another thing to keep in mind is suspended accessories like a cargo carrier or bike rack extend the length of the vehicle. And many times when you go up an incline, they have the potential to bottom out over speed bumps or whatever it may be. So just keep that in mind when you have your accessories on here and you're going up those inclines. Now, chances are you're watching this video because you want to see how this is installed, and you found the right place. And I'm here to tell you this one's actually pretty easy to do. It's really going to be just putting hardware into 4 holes that are in the frame. You're going to need to lower your exhaust. There's a small panel that you'll take down, but really pretty straightforward as far as install. Specialty tools you might want to get before hopping into it are going to be a torque wrench, a 3/4 inch socket, a 10mm socket, and a flathead screwdriver, potentially a pry bar for the exhaust to lower it down. Now that seems like a lot, but really it's pretty straightforward. And if you're slightly mechanically inclined and have some tools at home, you'll be able to knock this out pretty quick. I would recommend an extra set of hands to get the hitch raised up and get the hardware on, but beyond that, you can knock this out in your garage or driveway. Give yourself a little over an hour or so and you can have it done. But if you watch the video and determine, you know what, I don't have the place, the time, the tools, or even the want to do that myself, I totally get it. Life happens, but I still want you to get a hitch because it really does make your vehicle that much more usable. So don't let the installation scare you off from that. You can reach out and find someone close to you by using our dealer locator. We have tons of different dealers across the US that can do work like a hitch install on your CX-9 for you, so you can still enjoy it. For you DIYers, or if you're determining whether or not you want to do this yourself, stick around. Let's take a look at that install and get your hitch installed. To begin our installation of our hitch, we're going to need to remove this lower panel, and we have 4 plastic push pins here on the bottom, and there's also 10mm nuts that are tucked back, just bracketing them up. Now, this is not going to get reinstalled. Our hitch is going to live in this area, so once we remove it, you can hold on to it, you can throw it away. It's really up to you. Now, a trim panel tool works really well on these, but also a flathead screwdriver. You'll see that there's 2 notches, one on each side. That's going to allow you to put that flathead in there, and you'll see they do break fairly easily, but a lot of times what I'll try to do is pry in here and do a twist motion. That one completely snapped off. So we'll try this one. But a twisting motion, if you can get that center portion pried out, generally you can get the rest of it to come with it. So if you pull that center out, a lot of times with a trim panel tool, you can pry behind this and pull the whole plastic clip out. But again, this is going to be something that we're not reinstalling, so if you break these, it's not the end of the world. Once those plastic clips are removed, to gain access to the 10 mil, just kind of go in between the muffler and with a ratchet and a 10mm socket, we'll get this loosened up and completely removed, and then we can set this panel aside. With your flathead, you can see this is attached. You'll just push this tab aside, and you may still have to give it a little bit of force, but that should pop that out. And then there's going to be two similar clips near the outside where we pry those plastic push pins. So we'll get that pried back and get this side, and then we can set this aside. Now, we still have these brackets, and we want to get these out of the way, so we're going to get the plastic push pins removed here. Now, something I noticed too is if you pulled that lower panel down before getting that 10mm off, that might actually work better because then you have a straight shot to it. It's really up to you. Either way, we're going to accomplish the same thing of getting this all taken down and out of the way. If you do break off those ends and you're having trouble getting these out, these plastic push pins are tricky, I'll admit that. Once that breaks off, you can take a flathead, just kind of push through the center there, and then from there you can pry behind this and get it to pop off generally. But if you're struggling with these, don't be surprised. They are pretty strong plastic clips, and my ratio for not breaking them is not that great right now. But again, not a big deal because these aren't going to go back on anyway. Now our hitch is going to live above these exhaust hangers, so we want to pop out these hangers from the isolators. There's going to be 4 of them, and getting this lowered down is going to make it a lot easier to not only get our hardware in place, but also tightening down. So the best way to do this, have something to support the exhaust when you lower it down, because you don't want it just hanging there putting stress on the rest of the exhaust. So I'm on a lift, obviously. So for me, I'm going to do a cam buckle strap across just the suspension arms, and this will create a cradle for my exhaust. If you're doing this on the ground or in your garage, just set a box or a block of wood, basically so the exhaust isn't free hanging. And to get your isolators popped off, it's really not too bad, but sometimes they can get built up and just not want to move very much. So I'd recommend taking either silicone spray or even a soapy water solution and just soak it down. That'll help lubricate these. So you'll find the 2 pretty easily on the outside here, but there's also going to be one behind the muffler on each side, so make sure you get those as well. And then to pry these off, you can use the hanger as leverage. I have just a pry bar. You can use a really long flathead screwdriver and just kind of work this off. These are super flexible and generally pretty rip resistant, so if you need to get a little bit tough with them, feel free to do that. And it doesn't matter if it goes off the bottom or the top, as long as we get the isolator to pop down. So another tool that is handy in some cases is going to be an exhaust isolator remover, or exhaust hanger remover, so pretty easy here. It's a similar concept to what we're doing with the pry bar. You're just able to press this in and pry it back. But we'll get all 4 of these popped off, and just know that when you drop that last one, it's possible that muffler will drop down, so maybe leave one slightly attached here so it's not dropping on your head. But we'll get our other 2 taken down. And once you have that popped down, with my cam buckle strap, I can kind of adjust this to give me a little bit more space. So if you need to do that, by all means. At this point, we're going to start to grab our hardware and feed it into the frame rail, so you can go ahead and get those all ready, and I'll show you how to put them in. There's going to be 4 spots that we feed the hardware into, and you're going to want a pull wire, a spacer block, and your carriage bolt. And we're going to be first starting with the most forward holes. So you'll see this kind of oval shaped one. It's about 10 inches away from this large access hole. And we're going to pull the coiled end from this hole back until we can get this fed through. So just kind of reach your finger in there, find that coiled section and pull it down. And on the back end, you can put a little bend here that'll help prevent pulling it in. But we'll take our spacer block and just feed that into the frame rail. And then our carriage bolt we thread on. And we can do the same thing here, just feed that in. And then we'll just pull this, jostle it around until this drops into place. And that creates our front mounting spot for our hitch. Now the rear, it's going to be pretty similar. It's slightly different. It's a reverse fish wire technique. And to accomplish this, we're going to have your coiled end, just feed the spacer block on and hold it. And then you can take your carriage bolt, thread this on. And then we'll just feed this directly in and drop that down. Now keep your pull wires on. This comes really handy when you raise the hitch up. You can slide these through the holes and it'll guide it up. And also it's going to keep it from pushing into the frame rail and you having to fish that back down while you have the hitch in place. So what you see here, we're just going to repeat on the other side of the vehicle. Now it's time to get our hitch raised up into place. And I have Chris helping me here. I would recommend having an extra set of hands. It can be pretty cumbersome. And as you raise it up, take those pull wires, feed them through the corresponding holes, and that's going to help guide us up. I would recommend having a serrated flange nut on hand on each side. And that way, once we raise this up and we get these to pop down, we can pull off our pull wire and get the nut started. And that's going to support the hitch. So as long as you have one on each side started, that'll allow us to get the other hardware all set in place. So our end goal is to have the 4 nuts on the 4 carriage bolts, and we'll just hand tighten them on for now. Once you have those nuts started on all of the carriage bolts, we'll go through with a 3/4 inch socket, and we're just going to snug them down. We don't need to get crazy here, so as far as like an impact or something, we don't need to go that far because we're really just trying to snug it up before coming back with our torque wrench. And this makes it to where it's a lot less rotation with the torque wrench, but also it's going to make sure that our bolts drop into those spacer blocks. So just make sure that they are dropped down all the way. If you don't have a ton of threads, it's very possible. You just need to rotate it until it drops down. So I'll snug these up and then come back with my torque wrench. Now coming back with that same 3/4 inch socket and torque settings that are found in the instruction manual, we'll get our torque wrench all set up, and we're going to go through and torque down our hardware. And this is really going to make sure that long term we can tow safely down the road, and it's not going to be loose, but also not too tight, putting stress on the hardware. If you need a torque wrench, we have them available here at eTrailer. You can generally go to an auto parts store and rent one for free. Once you snug down the 4 of them, that's really all you're going to need this for, but this is an important step. So go through, get all your hardware torqued down. Once all that hardware is torqued down properly, your hitch is officially installed. So all we need to do is get our exhaust isolators put back on, take whatever you had supporting the exhaust out of the way, load up your accessories, put in your pin and clip, and you're ready to hit the road. And that was a look at installation of the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver on a 2018 Mazda CX-9. Hopefully this video helped you decide if this is the right hitch for you or how to get it installed. And speaking of that, during the installation, if you come up with any tips or tricks that might be better than what you found in the video, or if it was helpful, let us know. I love to hear the feedback from you all watching these videos so we can make them better here at eTrailer. And also, if you had someone else install it or you did it yourself and you're out on an adventure using the hitch, take some pictures and share it with us. We love to see you all out using our products out in the wild, and it really gives other CX-9 owners an opportunity to see what you can do with this vehicle. My name's Brad. Thanks for watching.